Hello, how's it going? And happy Wednesday for you all and my honorable linguistic lecturer, Mr. Trika Adiana. So today, I'm Siluh Putu Sisylia Paramitha with ID number 201202-1026 from 2A class English Language Education. I will give an answer and explanation from some question for Introduction to Linguistic course final test. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, in this final test we have 5 questions and I will answer one by one. So the first one is, what is meant by arbitrary? So arbitrary means changing, and if this is related to language, it can be concluded that each word is relative. This means that one word can have the same form but has a different meaning when used in a particular sentence. For instance, there is no logical explanation for calling an animal cat in one language and kucing in another. And the only explanation that may work in that such form-meaning relationship is created on a conventional basis by the user of a language in a particular speech community, and there is a kind of convention or agreement among the members of the community who are the user of the language to make such as a relationships. So that's about arbitrary. Okay, let's jump to the question number 2. Okay, question number 2 is, what is the difference of phonemics and phonetics? Okay, in this case, I will divide the differences between phonemics and phonetics by 3 outlines. There is meaning, purpose, and function. Okay, the first is meaning. Phonemics is the sound system of a language or the study of how phonemes are put together and how they create meaning for the speaker of any given language. While phonetics is the study of the sounds of a language. Phonemes are unit of sounds that are used in all languages to create words are the focus on the study of phonetics. And a phonemes is the smallest unit in the sound system of a language. Okay, second is purpose. Phonemics is the term used for the study of speech sound used in a particular language. The distinctive accents that many learners of English have are due to differences between the phonological system of their language and that of English. From birth and possibly before, we learn to recognize and produce the distinctive sounds of our own language. The cycle structure of parts of the sound system are adapted to produce native language sounds, and some phonemes might have slightly different meanings or uses in 2 different languages. And phonemics is an attempt to understand these changes in meaning, and in addition, historical or diachronic phonemic studies how the phonemes of a word can change over time and how this affect word meanings. For example, some of these units are only used in the middle of or at the end of a word but never at the beginning. And while phonetics, in order to produce sounds, humans use various body parts including the lips, the tongue, teeth, pharynx, and lungs. And phonetics is the term for the description and classification of speech sounds, particularly how sounds are produced, transmitted, and received. And phonetics attempts to understand how each one of these phonemes is cyclically formed and produced by human. This unit can be categorized by how they are produced and where they are voiced or voiceless. This aspect of phonetics is commonly used by linguists as speech specialists to understand how humans create a speech sounds and why speech problems sometimes occur. and the classification of speech sound like vowels, consonants, and suprasegmentals. Okay, third is function. Both depend on each other, phonemics and phonetics, because without the production of sounds there will be no words. But without the rules to put them together, sound would have no meaning. They work together in important ways, but both cover their own specific part of language production. Okay, that's about the differences between phonemics and phonetics. Okay, let's jump to the question number 3. Okay, the question number 3 is, please explain one of the word coinage process. Coinage is the word formation process in which a new word is created either deliberately or accidentally, without using the other word formation process, and often from seemingly nothing as a neologism or coinage. We identify the word formation process of inventing entirely new words or neology. This is a very rare and uncommon method to create new words, but in the media, people try to outdo each other with more and better words to name their products. For example, I will explain one word, thermometer. Thermometer divided by prefix thermos, that means hot, plus suffix metron, that means measure, so that gave us thermometer. And so many advertising industry has added many words to English, such as Kodak, Helon, Orlon, Dacron, and so on. Okay, that's about coinage. Let's jump to the question number 4. Question number 4 is, what do you know about syntax? Okay, syntax is the law of language that determines the word order and basic sentence structure within the different languages. Each language has a specific syntax that tells the speaker and the listener which part of the sentence comes first to help them make sense of what's being said. In the English language, there is no word order that is set in stone for most types of sentences. Of course, there are always exceptions, but most of the time, standard English sentences will follow as few word order. There is subject, verb, of course, object. As in, the boy looks outside of the window. Okay, in this example sentence, we have the subject boy, the verb looks, and the object is outside. This image is of an English grammar syntax 3 used by linguists to plot the structure of sentences. In the chart, you can see that the sentence is broken down into its part: verbs, nouns, articles, and preposition. After the step, the words are grouped together to determine which part of the sentence are noun phrases, prepositional phrases, or verb phrases. In the example given with the syntax 3, the subject is cat, the verb is sat, and the object is met. This second picture is another way in which syntax can be written out. This diagram takes the sentence, the dog loved the girl, and breaks it down into articles, nouns, verb phrases, and verb phrases, just like the previous example. Okay, in this sentence, the subject is dog, the verb is loved, and the object is the girl. And an addition used for syntax 3 is that whenever a different word order is used for a sentence, it can be decoded by charting it out like the example above. Okay, that's a little bit about syntax. Now let's move on to the last question, or the 5th question. Okay, the question number 5 is, why do you think the knowledge of linguistics is important for you? Okay, in this question, my answer is obviously yes. The knowledge of linguistics is important for me because of two things. The first reason is because I want to be a language teacher, especially in English. Because when you want to be a language teacher, understand linguistics is very important. Starting from the sub-discipline of phonology, morphology, syntax, semantic, lexicology, to knowledge of the relationship between language and society and culture, right? And how is it possible for a language teacher to practice language skill if does not master phonology? And how could teacher possibly train pregnancy writing or composing if he did not master spelling, morphology, syntax, semantic, or lexicology, right? And in addition, as a language teacher is not only has to practice language skill but also has to explain the rules of language correctly. And more important reason is linguistic for daily life or public interest, because by understanding linguistic we will be able to read carefully and critically. When reading textbooks, stories, dictionaries, poetry, and etc., we must be able to understand word by word, so that we can understand precisely the purpose of what we read. So that's why linguistics is really important. Okay, so that's all for me. I hope you get the point and get a new information about linguistics from my video. See ya!